Very early in the history of the Oblates, whilst they were still living and ministering as the missionaries of Provence, actually in 1818, the founder, St. Eugene, and his religious confreres, both priests and students, decided after a community vote they would become a religious order. They would take vows and live a vowed life. They were at that time young diocesan priests. The profession of vows by all religious men and women, that is, priests, brothers and nuns, is common the world over in that they all take vows. That's a major part of being a religious. We talk about taking vows of poverty, chastity and obedience. What odd phrases today. What do you mean when you say a man or woman has taken a vow of poverty? When I vow to live poverty, it does not mean I'm going to live in misery or in hunger or deprivation. It really is, as some say today, a vow of sharing. I'm going to live a common life without too much emphasis on my own personal needs, without this great desire to have more than I need. It's to live with a sufficiency for every day. The vow of chastity often elicits most attention, and its meaning is fairly clear. The religious, in vowing chastity, promises to forego all sexual activity and the possibility of a loving partner and a family. As is well understood and appreciated by people of all ages and cultures, this is a huge sacrifice, and one not to be lightly entered into. One's sexuality is at the core of one's being and touches us in our most inmost parts. To vow chastity is not a once and for all gift to God, which having been offered is now done and dusted. It is a sacrifice and gift to be made day after day and time after time if one is to remain faithful. Obedience. To many this may seem an unusual value to be at the core of one's adult life. And yet, if one were to ask mature religious their opinion as to whether they felt there was a hierarchy of difficulty in the living of our lives, I suspect many will opt for the obedience as being the most challenging. To promise obedience to God, even through another, is not a childish conformity, let alone an acceptance of the capricious wish of another person. It is fundamentally an offering of one's life and talent, one's energy and goodwill for the building of God's kingdom through the service of his people. Through the vows and perhaps the obedience in particular, we are enabled to live and work together for the building of Christ's body, to live in harmony and mutual respect, to combine our energy and gifts for the effective fulfilling of our ministry, and to support and encourage one's fellow religious on the great and challenging road of life.